Hey, I'm Randy, and I'm the cheap audio man. Here at the Cheap Audio Man, we don't feel like audio equipment should cost as much as $700 IEMs, which is a fancy way of saying earbuds. We don't think earbuds should cost $700 or $8 or $9 or, gosh forbid, $1,000. Which they don't. Okay, we're going to talk about IEMs today. So grab a cup of coffee, sit down, and let's talk about the cheap audio man's favorite IEMs, or earbuds, as most people would call them. All right. Sponsor. Connie's super expensive children's footwear. When you want to spend a ton of money on your children's footwear and have it last like 3.5 weeks, go get some Connie's. Unless you have younger children that will grow into them, it's a complete waste of money. Why IEMs? Well, I'll tell you the reason why. 1, they're portable. 2, it's a pretty inexpensive way to get into the hobby of high fidelity and not have to worry about your room. 3, you can't fit an amplifier and a pair of speakers and a subwoofer in your pants unless you have really, really big pants and you're strong. 4, they're kind of cool. They're kind of fun. So I have done something I've never done before, and that's I made some D-roll. Yeah. Other people on the YouTube network of channels call it B-roll, as in B as in Bravo. I call it D-roll, D as in Delta, because mine's going to be not nearly as good as theirs. Like, you have B and then C and then D. 2 separations from B. Mine's going to be 2 steps down. D-roll. Okay? So, what I'm going to do, talk about 4 different IEMs. 4 different prices, why I like them. Okay? You probably heard about some of these if you're interested and you kind of watch the YouTubery around, because these are basically purchased because of reviews on YouTube. Okay? So, left to right. No, we're not doing that. We're going to start right here. The Tin T2, Tin HiFi T2. They have a MMCX connector, which means if you spin them around, they keep spinning around. Okay, pops right off if you want to change out the cords. They are 102 decibels sensitivity, 16 ohm resistance. Their frequency response is 12 up to 40,000 hertz, and they're $49. I think they're fairly neutral, except until you get to the top end. I think that's elevated a bit. I also think the top end isn't super accurate. Okay? What I mean by that is like when there is cymbal hits, it sounds more like white noise kind of being piped in at the right frequency at the right time. So, not a lot of good decay. Okay? They're $49 and they're worth every penny. They sound awesome. They're going to sound way better than anything like from Sony or Beats or Apple, anything like that. I think Sony has some higher end stuff. I don't know if they have higher end IEMs. The source that I used for all of these is the Ear Studio M100 Mark II. What is it? It is a LDAC Bluetooth receiver. Actually, it's a Bluetooth receiver for pretty much all the codecs. LDAC, aptX HD, aptX LL, low latency, aptX AAC for all the Apple folks out there, and SBC, which is kind of like the catch-all. Okay? It has a awesome app. It's a Bluetooth receiver, a USB DAC, and a headphone amplifier that not only has single-ended 3.5 millimeter, it's got balanced 2.5 millimeter outputs. Cool thing about all of these is if you want to run them balanced, and there's benefits to running something balanced, including power output and noise cancellation. Not noise as far as like Bose noise cancellation. I mean, like, instead of having one signal path, you have two signal paths. They're 180 degrees out of phase, so any noise introduced is going to be canceled out because it's actually measuring the delta of those two sine waves instead of just one sine wave, if that makes sense. Okay. All right, we're done with the 10 T2, 10 HiFi T2s. All right, let's talk about the Blonde BL05. Blondes, okay, similar price range as the 10 T2s, $49. Sometimes you can find a little coupon on the Amazon. They are 108 dB sensitivity, 32 ohms, 20,000 or 20 up to 20,000 frequency response, hertz, $49. These have a 2-pin connector. I think it's like 0.78 millimeters. So you can spin these around just like the MMCX connectors, but you'll only do it once because you'll break your cord. So I'm kidding, don't spin them around. Okay? These have a similar sound signature as the 10 HiFi T2s. However, I think they have better bass and, or can't say better, I'll say thicker. There's more bass presence, which I feel like they're bumped on the low end a bit. And their highs, similar to the 10 HiFi T2s, however, the highs have better separation. Okay, so better decay with the cymbals. You'll hear more nuances in the highs, in my opinion, with the Blonde BL05s. They're a lot of fun, and for $50, you can't really go wrong. Okay. Okay. Also, the M100 Ear Studio M100 Mark II is $100. Well worth every penny. Okay. Let's talk about the Moon Drop Starfields. All right, the Moon Drops are, all these are metal, by the way. They all have nice metal construction. Moon Drops, $110. Okay. Again, 2-pin connection, just like the Blonde BL05s, which is interesting because if you want to run balanced, you only have to buy one 2-pin balanced cable, and then you can switch it out between the Blondes or the Moondrop. 122 dB, so this is the most sensitive. What does that mean? It means that the same given power, the Moondrops can play louder. 32 ohms, 10 up to 36,000 hertz, $110. I said that before. Sound is signature on these. More bass than the Blondes, okay? But it doesn't bleed over to the mids. It's not bloated, okay? It's not overwhelming. It's there, it's present. It has some thickness, it has some weight, some heft, a little bit of punchy in the mouth. 35-year-old longshoreman punch in the mouth. I used that joke yesterday or the day before. I'm going to use it again. They're awesome. They still have a lot of detail and separation in the mid-range and the highs. Actually, the mid-range to me is weightier. Yeah, male vocals sound really good. Female vocals sound great too because there's just a titch more body there. They're very pleasing. They're not neutral, but they're very pleasing. Okay, highs neutral, mids neutral, bass bumped. But it's done ever so lovedly. Yeah, I like the Moon Drops. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the 10 HiFi P1s. All right, 10 HiFi P1s, $170, $10 off coupon, brings it down to $160 basically. This is a planar magnetic headphone. The rest of them are, I don't know, dynamic or something, armature, something. They're not planars though. These are the only planars. MMCX connector, the spinny aroundy one. I'll show it to you again. Yep. 96 dB, so the lowest sensitivity out of the bunch. That's going to come back here later. 10 hertz up to 40,000 hertz. And yeah, 169. So 160. If you want the most clarity out of any of these, similar to like the Emotiva B1 Plus, you're working with that planar ribbon, different type of driver. You get a clarity and a look into the music that is very difficult to reproduce with a dynamic driver. Okay, they are a little bit light on the bass. However, planars take very well to tone controls and very well to EQ. And the Ear Studio M100 Mark II has got a really awesome EQ. It's got a whole bunch of presets. You can make your own presets dependent on which IEM or headphone you're listening to. You can name them whatever you want. It's pretty cool. Bottom line is, I did bump these, I don't know, probably 4 dB at like 60 hertz and maybe 2 dB at like 100. Anyway, I kind of bumped it and then brought it back down. I found that over time, I just ran them flat because I started to enjoy their flavor, what their differences from the other IEMs. And that leads me up to kind of my point. I think if you have, I don't know, $300 to spend on IEMs, I think what you really should do is buy yourself a Ear Studio M100 Mark II, or there's a FIO BTR5, I think, about $10 more, similar price range. And then get 2 different flavors of headphones or earbuds, IEMs. The 10 HiFi P1 is going to be one flavor on the end of the spectrum. The Moondrop Starfields are going to be kind of the opposite end of the spectrum. But there's room in your pocket for both if there's room in your wallet for both. See what I did there? So for, let's say, 160, that's 260, and then 370. Okay, so that's under $400. That's pretty expensive still. But you're getting this, which you can use on everything, and 2 really solid IEMs. If that's too expensive, then I would look at the P1s still because they're awesome. You do, however, have to run them balanced to get enough juice out of the Ear Studio. And then I'd probably get the Blonde BL05s. So you're 160, 260, and then 310. $310, okay? If you don't have that much to spend, I would get the M100 Mark II or the FIO BTR05 and the Blondes, okay? $150. Then you can get something later, all right? I definitely get a USB DAC like a Dragonfly or this or the FIO. Something that has some flexibility. I like these because they have Bluetooth as well as being a USB DAC. And then you're set. And you're rocking and rolling. Cool thing about these, no room reflections, nothing like that. Gives you a different experience. Probably hear things different in your music that you haven't heard before. And that, to me, is what's so fun about this hobby or lifestyle. Okay? These are all clear. I'm a clarity nut, clarity junkie. They're clear in the mids and clear in the highs, and the bass is pretty much awesome on all of them. So if you're new here, please subscribe. We have a whole bunch of videos. It's a lot of fun. You don't have to spend a whole bunch of money to enjoy your music. You don't have to be intimidated by the weird words that they make up in some of the other videos. I'm looking at you, Ron. You can have a good time, and you don't have to break the bank. We have a Patreon, and patrons, we have a Zoom every Sunday night. We are on the Facebook. We're on a Twitter, at Cheap Audio Man. Cheap Audio Man on Facebook. You can support me by clicking on the links, buying stuff. I get a small commission. Also, you can give to the Patreon. And you can sign up for Amazon Music HD for free. Click on the link, scroll down the bottom, click Try HD, get 3 months for free, and I get a couple of dollars from Amazon. Yeah. So, good times. IEMs, if you're a speaker guy or girl, check it out. Look into it. It's fun. They don't take up very much space. You can have a whole drawer full of them. Lots of different flavors. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.